Hello and welcome to another episode of Tubarks Tales, My Adventures in Learning. I'm your learning guide, Stan Scrabbit. In this episode, I'm going to talk about a couple of videos that I think you should watch, introduce a couple of new apps that I just recently learned about, and show you a couple tips that you can do with your Gmail and Chrome browser. But first, we're going to start out with another wonderful webinar or video that Steve Dotto put together. And this is on screencasting, and I picked up just a wealth of tips out of this. Steve Dotto systematically over the course of an hour talks about everything kind of A to Z on screencasting. It talks about audio, talks about video, what equipment that you need, also goes into screenwriting. And included on his website, he has a number of, he talks about the various hardware that you need. And, this is the stuff that he is using or has recently used and maybe upgraded, but he recommends it. Talks about various software. So, for example, the Mac, the ScreenFlow Hero, and then also Camtasia. And Camtasia happens to be the product that I'm using, and I'm pretty happy with it, and simply because I'm using a PC. So this is a little bit, if you're interested in this idea of screencasting, definitely check out Steve Dotto's site. I'll put a link to it, but Steve Dotto, just a great job explaining how his process works. And he has done quite a number of screencasts, so he definitely has got his act together. The other video that I think you should watch is this one called LinkedIn Made Easy. Once again, it was done by Steve Dotto, but this was also in an interview with Vivica von Rosen, and she's got her act together dealing with LinkedIn. Just a fun interview, but they kind of go through a lot of great information regarding LinkedIn. She also talked about in a previous episode, Melanie Dodaro, talk about that you need to go and kind of continuously build and increase the number of contacts that you have. But Vivica comes in and talks about that you need to build relationships, right? You need to know who these people are and kind of work with these people. And really you need to know your audiences. Part of the great advice that she's giving is that you should be on a regular basis updating your profile. Anytime that something new's happened, maybe that you've written an article, a book, put out a new video, going out, on a speaking engagement, what have you, you should go out and update your profile and just let people know. Otherwise, just go out basically every 3 months and do that. So, good stuff from this interview. I think if you watch it, you'll get a lot of information. If you want to go to the next step, they're offering a course on how to leverage LinkedIn for businesses, and you should check that out. And once again, put a link to the site. So those are two videos that I've recently watched that I recommend. As I mentioned, I'm using Chromecast a lot. I'm going out and playing my videos directly to Chromecast, sitting on the comfort of my couch and taking notes. Great tool. I'm very happy with it. So, but these are two that I recommend. This is a cool product, an application that I found. It's called Waze, and Waze basically allows you to kind of plot your route, just like a GPS. It allows you to go from point A to point B. What is really great about this is that it does a little crowdsourcing. So if there's other drivers out there and they note where there's, kind of traffic backed up, on their Waze device, they will indicate that, and it will put an icon on the basically on the map showing you where this is. Or if they happen to see a police officer, they'll indicate where there's a police officer hidden. And so while you're traveling, you can find out this information. Additionally, that not only are they telling you where these traffic jams are or hazards on the road, but you can also share these with friends or family. So, for example, with Bernadette, my recent travels, as I was traveling, I shared my Waze with her, and she could keep an eye on where I was throughout my travels. And, that increased her comfort level. Another thing that's out there is people are going out and reporting gas stations on what the lowest gas price is. So you can look at your local area and see where the cheapest gas is in your town. The nice thing is every time you move from one place to another, you can find out what's happening in that local area. So Waze, it's available on Google for the Android and also on the App Store. Pretty cool little program, and it's one that I'm going to be using for a long time. This is another program that I just heard about, and I think it's kind of cool because it allows you, it sends reminders to you that you should stay in touch with people, and that's what it's called, Stay in Touch. It'll give you reminders. Hey, you haven't called mom in 3 weeks. Give mom a call. And so you can set these reminders, these calendar tasks to kind of keep in touch with people that you may not normally keep in touch with through your business contacts. And so, keep in touch with friends. It'll send you just kind of a little note that you should do that. So really just a simple app, but you can put in, as it's indicating here, that you can also, kind of put in habits. Hey, that you want to make sure that, if you're drinking 8 glasses of water a day, that this will remind you, that you can do that, or, remind you to go out and do some fitness, or whatever that you decide that you want to program in there. So those are, just possibilities with that. So it's called Stay in Touch. Go check it out. I don't know if it's available for Mac or not, but definitely it's available for the Android. So this last piece is actually talking about, not necessarily Gmail. I'm using Gmail as an example, but talking about Google Labs and some things that you can do with your browser. So the first thing is I have this icon up in the upper left, and what I had done is it goes to my AccuRadio, and if I right click on that tab, it allows me to unpin it, or I can pin it. So I have this pinned, so every time that I shut off my browser and it comes back on, it will automatically bring up those particular tabs that I've pinned. So I'm going to pin these two. I'm going to close my browser, and when I go back and open my browser up again, ideally those 2 tabs will be pinned. So one is for my AccuRadio, and now my Gmail is pinned. So just simply right-clicking on it and deciding I want to pin it. And here's the default, page that would normally come up. So you can pin a number of pages up there if it's something that you open all the time. It's kind of a, just kind of cool idea. I always bring up AccuRadio, so that's the one I pin, and here's my Gmail. Speaking of Gmail, let me show you this other thing first. I have a number of Gmail accounts. I have probably 5 or 6 different Gmail accounts, And if I want to go to the next account, what I usually had to do was sign out. But Gmail, they've added a feature, not just Gmail, but they've added a feature where I can add an account. So if I want to look at my account for, say, the Rocky Mountain Region Chief of Staff job, I can bring that up. And so now I have that open, plus I have my normal Gmail. And if I want to also bring up an additional one, say the PDO, so now I have 3 different Gmail accounts open, and I can just tab through them, and that allows me to see, the mail that's relevant to those particular accounts. So that's, that just has made it handy. Instead of opening up an incognito browser, this just allows me to just kind of move from one to the other. One of the other, this last piece deals with Google Labs. So one of the things that you can do is enhance what you have going on in an application by going out and adding, add-ons. So in order to do that, you go over to the settings, you select that, and once again, settings. And right up here on this menu bar, you have labs. And when you select that, it allows you to see available labs for that particular product. Now, this also works for other products that Google has, and so you may want to go explore to see if those things are available. So one of the things is canned responses. There's certain times where I have to give the same message over and over again. So I'm going to go ahead and enable that so I can possibly use that. I don't use keyboard shortcuts so much. Google Maps in Mail is a good one. So if there's an address in your email, it'll automatically bring up it'll have the Google Maps available to you. Mark as red button, that's kind of useful, so I don't have to go through multiple steps. I can just tag the ones I want to do and mark as red. And the preview pane, that is something that I want in there, and so that'll do it. So I just checked all those, and I'm going to go ahead and save those changes. So now when it goes back to my web browser, one of the options, and I'll just show one of them, is I'm allowed to, I'm going to split this vertically. And so now I have this additional pane on my window. And if I want to, look at, a particular email, that I can just click there and that it'll be brought up into this, into this preview window. Okay, so that just makes it just a little more convenient. And there's other cases. I don't know if I have anything with an address in it, but I'll be able to show that. So, but those are some of the possibilities that you can add with Gmail, and also your browser having multiple emails open, and being able to pin some tabs. So that's what I have for you. Some of the cool stuff that I've learned this week. Once again, thanks for following me on my path, and have another great day.